I've always wanted to build a vehicle from scratch. Not just any vehicle, but something that got extremely good gas mileage. The idea of an efficient vehicle started way back when I was a youth. I was really into recumbent bikes following the IHPVA races. And then, in the early 80s, the Vector came out and broke the speed limit, 56 miles an hour. It was a beautiful vehicle. Around the same time, Dale Malwicki broke the world record driving from San Francisco to LA on his California commuter trike, achieving 155 miles per gallon. For years, I drew up different plans of something similar to Dale Malwicki's trike, but with the Vector body style. At one point, I tried experimenting with making a fiberglass shell for this bicycle. It was interesting. I used chicken wire, paper mache, drywall mud. Turned out pretty good, but in the end it was so heavy that I was unable to fiberglass it. Had to tear it apart. As the years went by, I still wanted to make this thing, but my skills were limited, so I had to make some compromises. I was a little skittish trying to make a fiberglass body, so I started playing around with the design with just panels to achieve the shape that I wanted. Once I got a shape that I liked, I proofed it with a 1/6 scale model. Worked out pretty good, so in 2005, I decided to finally build this thing. For the frame base, I used 1.5-inch square tubing. I made the frame in such that it would hold the panels, yet keep a teardrop shape. In the background are the round MDF bending brakes. I just nail these down to my workbench and bend the square tubes by hand. I was confident enough to weld up my frame using my little wire feed MIG welder. But I wasn't comfortable making my A-arms. These are a major component. If there's a failure, it can be catastrophic. So I got on eBay and found all the components for a Banshee quad front end. The shocks came off of the rear end of a 600cc motorcycle. The problem with ATV wheels, they're 10-inch. And other than a wide trailer tire, the only other decent tire came off the old Honda Civic. I actually had to wait a few months for them to make a few of these for me. The accelerator's on the right, and the middle pedal went to the drum brake in the rear. And that goofy thing sticking out on the left, that's my hand hydraulic brake off the Honda motorcycle. And that activated the Banshee front end disc brakes. I used the stiletto rack and pinion steering box. Steering turned out twitchy, the brakes were faded, and it was overheating. Still, it didn't stop me from taking it down in the valley and just ripping it up in the country roads. And even though it had all these issues, it was finally nice to be able to sit in a vehicle that I had created, something I had thought about for over 2 decades. After hand painting the frame with safety yellow, I still wasn't happy with the steering, so I took some sprockets and some chain and tried to do a little gear reduction on the steering. Worked okay, not the best. It still handled real well though in the turns. Later I installed the gas tank in the back, installed a fan to try to cool down the engine. I installed an emergency brake. I added a door, installed some fenders, got all the wiring done, and took it down to the DMV. And that's where they said, what the hell is this? Took some pictures of it, sent it to Olympia, and I got a letter back saying, you can't use off-road parts on a car. It's illegal in Washington. Oh, that was a hard lesson, but I didn't let it stop me. I took the Banshee front end off, sold all the parts on eBay, and found a 1967 Carmen Ghia front end. The vehicle gained 120 pounds, but now I had some serious brakes. Enough so where I just disconnected the rear brake. Now the steering wasn't as twitchy, but I had a new problem. The shocks were meant for a 2,000 plus vehicle. Mine was only like 600, so it was a real rough ride. Ended up taking the shocks off, driving around a while with leaf springs. This didn't work out too well. I almost rolled the vehicle one day. Set it aside for a long time. Then I said, well, let's just cut down the shock towers, put these motorcycle shocks on there, and then I'll soften it up. Let's put the body on. Got out the coroplast. Started getting it all ready to go. That's kind of when I just, I don't know, I just let it sit there and sit and sit. We got years and years of mouse poop all over this rig. So this old motorcycle was given to me by somebody, 1972 350 Honda. You gotta have a door. First I was just gonna crawl in through the bars there, and that didn't quite work, so the door went in. So one concern I had when I was building this is, how am I going to get this in reverse? So I came up with this. Ta-da! Flintstone reverse, there you go. This idea I stole from the Tri-Magnum trike from years ago, Popular Mechanics, where they took all the components of your handlebar and put it on one arm and turned that into the shifter. Clutch here. Works pretty good. Cut your on off, horns, lights, it's all right there. The only instrument you really have is this little guy right here. I can even adjust the mirrors from the inside. This is storage. This way, if something, if I have to jam on the brakes or I get into an accident, all the stuff in here won't smack in the back of the head. So this is Tony, the new owner of my first trike, and they're getting ready to load it up on the trailer. What do you think?
Well, I'm here with Paul, and we're removing his one and only vehicle, apparently, that he's ever sold. And I want to put a Geo Metro motor in it if the Honda 4-stroke doesn't seem to hold up. So that's kind of like what my train of thought is to use a Geo Metro motor and see if it can get quite a bit better gas mileage than your average Geo Metro. So I'm quite excited. We live in the Tacoma area, and we're hoping to have something like this running around the streets and the freeways and not too very long.
Oh yeah. Well, it's light until you start going uphill.
Okay, Paul, enough with the camera.
Well, I learned a lot from this trike. I'm going to really hate to see it go. But I'm going to take the knowledge that I learned and apply it to another trike soon in the future. I'm sorry I didn't get any footage of this thing running, folks. Honestly, it did run at one time. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye. And be sure to pursue your dreams. You won't regret it for a moment.